Hello, welcome back to our series of MikroTik CHR and Advanced Networking. In today's session, we'll dive into DNS configuration and explore the different MikroTik CHR licenses, their features and limitations. Let's break it down step by step. What is DNS and why is it important? DNS, or domain name system, is like the internet's phone book. It translates human-readable domain names like www.google.com into IP addresses that computers can understand, such as 142.250.74.78. Without DNS, you would have to memorize IP addresses for every website you want to visit. Not exactly fun or practical. Now, in the context of MikroTik CHR, setting up a DNS server ensures that your router can first resolve domain names for connected devices in your network. Second, optimize network traffic by caching DNS queries locally. And third, prevent DNS-related issues by pointing to reliable public servers like Google DNS or Cloudflare. We'll be configuring DNS in MikroTik CHR through Winbox, ensuring your router is set to resolve domain names efficiently for all connected devices. And this is very important because even our next step, which is licensing, will not work without that, as the router would need to communicate to MikroTik servers to request and activate a license. If you've ever experienced slow browsing or connectivity problems, misconfigured DNS could be a hidden culprit. With Winbox, configuring DNS in MikroTik CHR is straightforward, and it gives you control over primary and secondary DNS servers, enabling a cache to speed up repeated queries, adding static DNS entries for specific devices or services in your network. Once configured, your network will function more smoothly, providing a better experience for all users. So we head over to IP, DNS, click on the arrow down to add new value. I like to use the Google DNS address of 8.8.8.8. Click the arrow yet again for secondary DNS. We can say 8.8.4.4, which is the Google secondary DNS address. You can hit the apply button at this stage. That still does the job of getting this router out to the internet. But for context, I'll explain some important features in the DNS functionality. Here it says, allow remote request. When this option is enabled, devices in your network or even outside your network, in the case of publicly accessible routers, can send their DNS queries to the MikroTik router. The router resolves these queries by forwarding them to the upstream DNS servers we configured above in the router, be that Google's DNS, Cloudflare, or your ISP's DNS. It simplifies DNS management by making the MikroTik router the primary DNS server for all devices in your network. Devices only need to point to the router's IP as their DNS server. In settings where your router is simply serving a couple of devices like PCs, smartphones, and IoT devices, this is generally safe as it reduces the need to manually configure DNS settings on individual devices, thereby providing centralized DNS handling within the network. But if your MikroTik router is accessible from the internet, like it is in our case, where we're using a cloud-hosted router with a public IP address that is reachable globally, enabling allow remote requests could expose your router to DNS-based attacks, like DNS amplification attacks. You must never enable allow remote requests without properly securing your MikroTik router. Exposing it to the internet can make it vulnerable. We'll discuss your CHR security in a future lesson, so for now, we'll leave that unchecked. VRF, or virtual routing and forwarding, stays at main. Again, we'll explore that later. The cache size, we can leave it at default. The MikroTik router caches DNS responses locally. This speeds up subsequent queries for the same domains by reducing the need to repeatedly query the upstream DNS servers. Let's go ahead and click Apply. Before we proceed with licensing, let us test our DNS configuration and be sure that this router can actually now resolve domain names. So we go to Terminal, New Terminal, we say ping space google.com, hit Enter. Not sure what ping is, don't worry. It's among the tools we'll talk about in the future lesson. We can see that we're all good. We're getting replies. We press Ctrl+C to cancel out of that. Now we're ready to grab a license. MikroTik CHR offers a flexible licensing model tailored to different use cases. You can always check these out on the MikroTik website. There's a free license, completely free with no time limit. That's a 1 Mbps upload speed cap, which can severely limit throughput. Good for testing or small-scale lab environments, but unsuitable for production use. There's a P1 license, allows up to 1 Gbps upload speed, suitable for small businesses or light production environments. There's P10 license, allows up to 10 Gbps upload speed, ideal for mid-sized businesses or heavier workloads. And there's P Unlimited license, no speed limitations, supports unlimited upload speeds, and is perfect for large-scale, high-performance networks. The right license depends on your needs. If you are setting up a test environment or just experimenting, a free license is a great starting point. But if you are rolling out CHR for production, you need to consider factors like bandwidth demands, traffic volume, and scalability. Well, since MikroTik allows us to try any of these license types for a number of days, I would like to grab the big pie. So we'll settle for P Unlimited. Yeah, so we head over to System License. You can see it is showing free, which is what the CHR gets by default upon installation. You click on Renew License. In the account field, you enter the email address or username you obtained in Lesson 2. Password, you enter the same password we set in Lesson 2. In other words, your MikroTik account password. Level, you select the license level you require. We're already in the free level, and that's why you can only see P1, P10, and P Unlimited. I'll choose P Unlimited, like I promised, then hit Start. If everything goes well, we should have our license issued according to the selected level. And yes, we now do. So our CHR instance now has DNS servers configured, which makes it ready for the internet. We have a functional MikroTik license also, which increases our capabilities. In the next video, we'll take a look at updating our MikroTik CHR and getting it ready for some serious action. Stay tuned.